I never imagined a single text at 4 in the morning could make the ground beneath me feel like it was splitting open. My name is Ethan, and for nearly 7 years, Leia has been my partner, my constant. We've lived together, traveled together, stayed up talking about everything and nothing, and fought in ways that always ended with us laughing, somehow stronger than before. But that morning nothing felt familiar. I was half asleep, cocooned in the warmth of our blanket when my phone buzzed. I reached blindly for it, squinting at the bright screen. The message was from Leia. Something came up. I'll explain later. That was it. No details. No follow-up. Too short. Too strange. A knot formed in my chest. I tried to roll over and convince myself it was just work. An emergency meeting, a forgotten deadline, something normal. Anything normal. But then I heard it. My front door rattled like someone was trying to tear it off its hinges. A scream cut through the silence of the hallway. A sharp, panicked cry that sent adrenaline ripping through me. I shot upright, stumbling out of bed and into my slippers, heart pounding so violently it hurt. It wasn't knocking. It was pounding. And I knew that voice. Leia. I threw the door open, barely breathing. She stood there trembling, hair a mess, eyes swollen and frantic, cheeks streaked with tears. Her hands clutched a crumpled jacket against her chest like she was afraid of letting it go. She didn't look like the Leia I knew. She looked hunted. Ethan. I need you. Her voice cracked, barely holding together. Need me? I echoed, confused, terrified. Leia, what happened? What's going on? She tried to speak, but her gaze kept darting up and down the hallway as if she expected someone else to appear behind her. She stepped closer, shaking so hard I could feel it through the air between us. I wanted to pull her into my arms immediately, to shut the door, to protect her from whatever had scared her like this, but a sliver of doubt slid into my chest. A quiet, unwelcome whisper telling me something was very, very wrong. Then she said it, barely audible, almost like she was talking to herself. I didn't mean to. And just like that my mind spiraled. A flood of terrible possibilities crashed in. Was she hurt? Robbed? Followed? Attacked? Or was this something else entirely? I stepped aside and let her in. The moment the door closed, she collapsed onto the couch. Her jacket slipped from her hands and landed on the floor, revealing a fresh bruise on her wrist. My chest tightened painfully. Leia, please. Talk to me, I murmured, kneeling beside her. She looked at me, then truly looked, and her eyes were full of panic, guilt, and something like shame. I thought I could deal with it alone, she whispered. I didn't want to bother you. Those words stung deeper than any insult could. Bother me? This woman had been my entire world for years. I had stayed awake on nights she couldn't sleep. I had worried about every little argument, every tension, every unexplained silence. And she thought she would be a burden? I reached for her hand. It was ice cold. I wrapped my fingers around hers and squeezed gently. We face things together. Always. You don't have to hide from me. She let out a shaky laugh that turned into a sob halfway through. You always say that. You always care too much. Her voice quivered, and then the truth began to break through her like a dam cracking open. I made a mistake, she choked out. A stupid, awful mistake. She covered her face with her hands, shoulders shaking. That single word, mistake, hit me like a blow to the stomach. My mind went numb. I didn't even know what to think, what direction to look in. Everything inside me braced itself. Leia, I said quietly. Whatever it is, just tell me. I can take it. She lowered her hand slowly, her eyes liquid with fear. I wasn't careful, she whispered. I ran into someone. And I said things I never should have said. I let things go too far. Not physically. It wasn't that. But I crossed a line. I made promises I never meant. I betrayed what we have, Ethan, even if it wasn't with my body. Her words slammed into me. Hard. Not cheating, but not innocent either. Something in between. Something murky and painful. I felt the world tilt, but I stayed silent, forcing myself not to react, not yet. The room felt heavy, charged with something breaking apart. The silence between us wasn't empty. It was thick, suffocating, filled with all the things we'd refused to say for too long. She shifted on the couch, pulling her knees close like she was trying to disappear into herself. And for the first time in 7 years sitting there beside her, I felt completely alone. "Ethan, I don't want to lose you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "But I don't know if I can fix this by myself." I inhaled slowly, trying to steady the mess of anger, confusion, and heartbreak swirling inside me. My mind kept replaying that 4 a.m. text over and over again. Something came up. Not a call. Not even a real explanation. Just that. She didn't reach out, didn't think of me, didn't trust me enough to face whatever was happening. And now she was here, shaking at my front door before sunrise, begging for me to help her put everything back together. "Layla," I said, choosing my words carefully, "you messed up. I get that. But running here, banging on my door in the middle of the night, that's not the way. That's not how we fix things." She winced at my tone, but I didn't take it back. Truth isn't always soft. Sometimes it has to sting to mean anything. "I know," she murmured, her fingers twisting nervously. "I just panicked. I felt like I couldn't face it alone." "You should have called me," I said quietly. "Texted me. Anything. I would have been there. I would have stood with you. But this chaos, Layla, it scares me. It makes me question everything." Her breath hitched as she hid her face in her palms. "I was terrified, Ethan. I thought if I just showed up, if I forced myself here, you'd understand. That maybe you'd forgive me." I wanted to shake her. To tell her that love isn't something you fix by showing up at someone's door in a panic. Trust is built in all the boring, steady moments, not in the explosions. I sat down on the armrest beside her, close but not closing the distance fully. "Leah, I love you. I do. But love isn't just running to me when things fall apart. It's being present every day. It's making the hard choices even when you're scared. That's how a relationship survives." She lifted her head, tears clinging to her lashes. I understand," she said, though the doubt flickered in her eyes, telling me she didn't fully. "You panicked," I said gently. "That's human. But waking me up at 4 a.m., screaming at my door, expecting me to fix everything instantly, that's not okay. We need boundaries. We need trust. Without that, we're just surviving the next disaster." Her tears spilled over as she nodded. "I'll do better. I promise." But promises come easy when someone is hurting. Keeping them is something else entirely. The room settled into a quiet that felt less sharp than before. I reached for her hand, not to erase what happened, but to let her know I hadn't given up. Not yet. But I also wasn't going to pretend everything was fine. This was a turning point. Whether we liked it or not, things would have to change. After a long moment, she whispered, "I'm so sorry, Ethan." It was simple, but it carried the weight of everything she'd been afraid to say. "I know," I replied softly. "And I want to work through this. But we do it the right way or not at all. No more running. No more chaos. We face things together. Honestly. With respect. Can you do that?" She hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Yes. I can try." And somehow in that small word the storm quieted. Not gone. Not resolved. But paused, as if giving us a little room to breathe. I looked at her, the woman I thought I had completely figured out, and understood something I had forgotten. Love isn't just the good days, the comfort, the laughter. Love is what you do when things break. It's choosing to stay when every part of you is tired and unsure. It's standing together even when it scares you. So that night, with the sky beginning to brighten outside, I chose to stay. Not out of obligation. Not out of fear. But because I still believed in us enough to try again. And maybe, just maybe, that was the real beginning.